Okay guys, today is Friday, March 22nd, 2019, and what I'm going to do today is start laying up my front shear web on my spar. This is the spar right here. I'm almost done with it. We've had the top, bottom spar caps laid up. I've laid up the rear shear web. One of the last big layups is to lay a layer or 4 layers of unidirectional over the front end of the spar that will lap over like this. It's a pretty simple process, however it does take quite a while to do that. So anyway, you guys have been asking about if I would show you what I'm doing with the airplane. This is just a video showing how I'm going to do this spar cap layup. And again, this is a Cozy Mark IV that I'm building. So anyway, here's my shop I'm building in. If you're interested in that, here's my wing foam. This has been pre-cut with CNC machine. Over here is my epoxy table. I'll mix up my epoxy here. I like using the balance scale because I know it is right. It is not going to be wrong. I do have a pump, but for what amount of epoxy I use, I just rather use the balance scale. Just another table over here to hold miscellaneous things that I use pretty frequently. Another table over here. So anyway, let's get to building this thing. Let's lay up this front shear web. This is one of the last big layups on this spar. Hope you enjoy the video. After this, we're going to start in on the wings. So wings are coming up. Oh, and I'll show you. I have cut the wing jigs, and these are cut per plans. This is so. Anyway, I'll show you the setup of that once we get them going. Let's see. Let's take a look at the time. It is now 8 o'clock. Okay, so what I've done first step is I have slurried this foam. Slurry is just a mixture of the micro beads and epoxy. You've got to slurry the foam before you can put the fiberglass on there. And when it comes to the fiberglass, what you do is you put epoxy on that before you put your fiberglass. So that has taken me about 1 hour and 45 minutes, believe it or not, to slurry this foam, which I think is ridiculous. But anyway, looks good. I'm fixing to get busy cutting my fiberglass and applying it. Okay, here's my fiberglass station, and I had to cut the fiberglass on 45-degree angle. I've noted the direction of the grain, and so we'll roll this up and take it over to the spar and wet it out. Okay, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but this is my first piece that I've got on there. Basically, I just laid it over there. I poured epoxy along the top, squeegeed it down on both sides, and then I used my brush to stipple any remaining pockets. And basically, all you want to do is just be sure you get the white out. What you see here is some of the flocks or slurry that I used prior to placing the epoxy. So this little white-looking stuff here is slurry. So, but anyway, I'm going to try to get a close-up, but you can see how well it's wetted out. Certainly you don't want it too wet, but you certainly don't want it dry. Alright, so I'm going to cut my next piece and keep moving along the line. I'll cut the epoxy, I'll cut the fiberglass, lay the fiberglass on here, wet it out, and keep going. You got to alternate the directions of the grain of the unicloth. So the first direction of the unicloth is going this way, and then so my next layer will actually go that way. And I tried to indicate that here. So number 1, first layer is headed that way. Okay guys, the clock now says 3:35. I started this morning at 8 o'clock doing this 4-layer layup on this spar. So good 8-hour shift. Anyway, I'm excited. This is my last piece. And I'm going to try to show you with one hand and hold the camera with the other, basically how I figured out the best way for me to do this. What I do is I mix my epoxy and I lay my cloth down, have it positioned like I want it, I then pour some epoxy on top here. Alright, and then I get my little squeegee and just simply work that around. This goes really fast on the top here. Now obviously I can't do that on the sides. I can't pour it on the sides because it would run off. So what I have to do for the sides is I use my brush. I use it to paint it on, basically like you would a paint, and then I then I stipple a lot of it in. So here we go. You see that goes pretty quick doing the very top here. And I do apologize again. I'm using one hand to video and obviously putting the epoxy on the top here. Okay, and then so that shows you how I do the top. And then for the sides, I usually have my epoxy in my left hand, and then I take my brush, which is right here. I take my 2-inch brush, dip in there, and then just paint it on. And that works pretty good. It goes a lot faster when you put your left hand to hold the epoxy. And then work that in. And then once I get done working it in with the brush and stippling, like this, then I'll make a final pass with the with my squeegee and removing the excess epoxy. So lots of stippling, just some different techniques that I've learned through doing this that may help you guys. Alright, let me get busy finishing this thing up, and I'll show you what it looks like whenever it's finished. Once I get done putting this piece on here, what I have to do next is to knife trim the ends here. These little frayed edges right here at the bottom, I'm going to knife trim that off. And we'll be done with that part. That's actually the largest, that's the final big layup I have on my spar. And we're getting done, real close to being done with the spar. So, awesome. Next comes the wings. Okay, the clock says 5:15, and I am totally done. I have, one thing I didn't mention is I was supposed to peel ply this. So, I've got my peel ply on here after you do your layups. So everything's looking good. Just need to let it sit up. So next comes the wings.